Hello students, I am Dr. Kamlesh Saini and I am working as Associate Professor in English at KLP College Rewari, affiliated to Indira Gandhi University, Mirpur. Today, I am here to discuss with you the first chapter of the book Center Stage, titled The Envoy. This book is a textbook of plays and language skills. It is a collection of 5 short dramatic writings. And now, let's discuss the first one-act play, The Envoy, written by Bhasa. Bhasa is one of the earliest and most celebrated Indian playwright in Sanskrit, predating Kalidasa. He was a prolific poet and dramatist. He was venerated by Kalidasa. Scholars are unequivocal about the date of Bhasa. The exact time of Bhasa, like his identity, is clouded by uncertainty. It is said that he lived and wrote about 2000 years ago. Not much is known about the life history of Bhasa. His plays had been lost for centuries until the manuscript of 13 of his plays were rediscovered in the earlier 20th century in Kerala. He was one of the pioneers of classical Sanskrit drama. He is said to have lived around 3rd century AD. Most of his plays are ingenious adaptation on themes of heroism and romantic love borrowed from the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. You can see the picture of Ramayana and Mahabharata on your screens. But like a modern playwright, Bhasa twisted and turned the plots and characters, producing highly innovative and creative plays. His strength is a skillful blending of dialogue, legend, and dramatic action. He is also known as the father of Indian drama. In 1912, the Sanskrit scholar T. Ganapati Shastri, you can see the picture of T. Ganapati Shastri on your screens, came across palm leaf codex in a village near Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala. I mean Tamrapatra in Hindi. You can see the Tamrapatra on your screens on the right hand side. It contained 13 plays used in a theatre form called Kodiyattam. Out of these 13 stories, and 6 are based on the epic of Mahabharata, which shows Bhasa's flair for dramatic stories and plays. Dutavakya, or the Envoy's Message, is one such spectacular play. The title in Sanskrit is derived from the compound word Dut plus Vakya, meaning the envoy's or Duta's Vakya or word. In Hindi, we would say Dut ka Sandesh. Let me now brief you about Mahabharata, the great epic. Mahabharata is one of the greatest written Hindu epic of all times. The story spans over 1 lakh shlokas or even 2 lakh verses, as each shloka is a couplet. It is written by Vedavyas in Sanskrit, consisting about 1.8 million words. Mahabharata is almost 4 times longer than Ramayana. Mahabharata meaning the great battle. It narrates the epic Kurukshetra war and the fate of Pandav and Kaurav prince. It is centered around the central theme of dharma and contains devotional and philosophical content. Mahabharata has been written in 18 books called Parvas. Interwoven into the narrative are several smaller stories about people living or dead. And it has philosophical discourses also. Again, coming back to the play, Dutavakya is a one-act play. जिसे कि हम हिंदी में कहते हैं एकांकी नाटक. A one-act play is a play that has only one act. It may consist of one or more scenes. There's a setting, a plot, characters, conflict, dialogue, and theme. A one-act play should have the following characteristics and components. The first one is, the story must revolve around or focus on one event. Number 2, the action of the play should move fairly quickly. Number 3, the conflict should be clear to the audience. Number 4, the characters should be limited to 2 to 7 with one clear main character. Students, now let us come back to the one-act play. Dutavakya is a one-act play. Bhasa creates a dramatic climax through the envoy of Pandav Prince Yudhishthira. Lord Krishna is the envoy or the ambassador here. He has come as a messenger of peace. He tries to convince Duryodhana to give half of his kingdom to his cousins and make peace. The conversation that follows is presented in the play. The play is based on the Udyag Parva of Mahabharata and is a verbal altercation between Lord Krishna and debauched Duryodhana. The changes brought by Bhasa in the portrayal of Duryodhana as the emperor in place of his blind father Dhritarashtra. The Envoy is one of the most powerful plays of Bhasa and is repeatedly enacted in the theatres of India even today. The play Envoy is based on the epic Mahabharata and it presents an important moment in the epic's progress. As the warring factions of the Kauravas and the Pandavas get ready for the battle of war at Kurukshetra, the latter makes a last bid for peace and sends Lord Krishna as their envoy to the Kaurav court to plead with the Kuru clan to avoid war by giving the Pandavas their inheritance. Krishna's dignified entry in the court and his graceful advice to Suryodhana are offset in the play by the rash and brash ways of the villainous Kaurav king. He makes the mistake of humiliating Krishna and almost pays for the mistake with his life. Krishna overcomes his own anger and withdraws Sudarshana, sparing Suryodhana his life. The play is a fine example of Bhasa's craft and it presents Krishna's entreaty for peace and Suryodhana's decision to embrace violence and ultimately his own demise. In short, theme of the play is an attempt to strike reconciliation between the Pandavas and the Kurus and not to provoke war. First of all, I would like to comment on the title of the play, The Envoy. And let's differentiate between the two similar but different terms, ambassador versus envoy, as nouns. Ambassador is a minister of the highest rank sent to a foreign court to represent there his sovereign or country, while an envoy is a representative or messenger, especially one on a diplomatic mission, or you can say Ambassador's role is to represent, negotiate, report, and protect his country's interest at all times. However, envoy does not have to reside in a country for the period of time that an ambassador does. In this play, Lord Krishna is the envoy who comes to Duryodhana on behalf of the Pandavas with the proposal for peace. The play is based on the great epic, the Mahabharata. The Pandavas and the Kauravas were the two great royal clans of India. The Pandavas were 5 brothers. You can see the picture on your screens. Yudhishthir, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakul and Sahadev. They were the sons of Pandu. The Kauravas were 100 brothers, and they were the sons of Pandu's brother Dhritarashtra. Thus, Pandava and Kauravas were brothers, or you can even say cousins. But Kauravas were wicked. They deprived the Pandavas of their kingdom by deceit. They defeated their elder brother in a game of dice. They insulted their queen Draupadi in the court and tried to disrobe her. Again, you can see the picture of Draupadi's on your screens. They compelled Pandavas to go to the forest. When the Pandavas came back from the forest, after the period of exile, they demanded their kingdom back. The Kauravas refused to give them, and they didn't want to share in the inheritance. As a result, Pandavas decided to wage a war against the Kauravas for their rightful share. But Yudhishthir wanted to avoid the war. He sent Krishna as the envoy for peace. Students, again you can see the picture of Krishna who enters the Kuru court as an envoy. Krishna goes to Hastinapur as an ambassador of the Pandavas to the Kauravas for an agreement treaty to prevent the disastrous war. When the play begins, Duryodhana, the Kaurav prince, enters his royal court. In the play, he has been referred to both as Duryodhana and Suyodhana. He announces that he has called a meeting of his courtiers and brothers. He tells them that he has a force of 11 armies. He asks them who should be the commander of the armies. Then he proposes himself that Bhishma should be made the commander. Just then, the chamberlain enters. The meaning of the word chamberlain is Kaksha Prabandhak in Hindi. He announces that Lord Krishna has come to meet him and others. The chamberlain calls Krishna the best of men. At this, Duryodhana becomes angry and he says that Krishna is only a cowherd. In Hindi, कि Krishna तो एक गवाला है. Then Duryodhana asks the assembly, how should Krishna be received? He wanted to insult Krishna. He tells the assembled prince that when Krishna enters, they should not stand up. He decides when Krishna comes, he will keep looking at a painting which shows Draupadi being dragged by her hair in the Kaurav court. He orders for the painting to be brought. To have a picture scroll of Draupadi being brutally insulted by the Kauravas. This scroll is most lustfully being viewed by Duryodhana when Krishna enters. The painting is brought and Duryodhana likes the painting. The picture shows that Dushasana is dragging Draupadi by her hair. Draupadi is full of terror and shame at her insult. In this picture, Bhishma is shown to be very angry, but he is pacified by Yudhishthira. He has lost the game of dice and is in shock. Arjun is full of anger. His lips are trembling. He has drawn the string of his bow, but Yudhishthira stops him. Also, the other two Pandavas, Nakul and Sahadev, also draw their swords. Shakuni, the king of Gandhara, is also shown in the painting. He is laughing spitefully. The grandfather has bowed his head with shame. Just then, Krishna enters. He says that he has come with a proposal for peace. He has come at the request of Yudhishthira and out of friendship with Arjuna. He says that if there is war, the anger of Bhima and Arjuna will destroy the whole Kuru family. He further says that Duryodhana has a magnificent palace. He has a big army having elephant and horses, but none will survive if there is war. So when Krishna enters, all the warriors at the court seems confused whether they should stand up or keep sitting. Krishna greets Duryodhana and addresses him as Suyodhana. Duryodhana decides to keep sitting, but such is the power of Krishna that he falls from his throne. That is the divine power. Krishna sees the painting depicting Draupadi's insult. He feels angry. Duryodhana asks his warriors to arrest Krishna, but no one comes forward. Then Duryodhana himself comes to arrest him. At this, Krishna assumes a universal form. You can see in the picture the universal forms of Krishna. There are so many Krishnas around. Duryodhana finds that there are a number of Krishna around him. He says one day he will kill Krishna with his arrow. Krishna calls Sudarshan Chakra. In the picture on your screen, you can see Krishna with his Sudarshan Chakra. It is his divine discus. Here he comes in human form. Sudarshana comes in human form. Krishna tells Sudarshana to destroy Duryodhana and his palace. But Sudarshana requests Krishna to have mercy on the Kauravas. He says that Krishna has come out on the earth to save mankind, not to kill them. Krishna realizes his mistake. He feels sorry for his anger and requests Sudarshana to return. Krishna is also about to leave the court. Then Dhritarashtra, the Kaurav king and father of Duryodhana, enters. He apologizes to Krishna on behalf of his son. Krishna forgives him and comes away from there. And the play ends on this note. I hope, students, you have understood the play well. Now, we will discuss the literary terms used in the play. The first one is aside. A-S-I-D-E. Aside is a stage device in which a character expresses to the audience his soliloquy. By convention, it is inaudible to the other characters on the stage. The other characters who are present on the stage cannot hear it. Just after the arrival of Krishna, Duryodhana curses himself and utters, I quote, "It is clear that Krishna has arrived. I had made up my mind to keep sitting, but his power moved me from my seat. This envoy is a cunning magician." I unquote. This speech is a pertinent example of aside in the play. The other literary device is personification. It is a literary device through which human features are attributed to non-human things. For example, Sudarshan, the divine discus, is personified by the playwright as it is shown as a speaking character in the play, behaving like a living attendant. Sudarshana appears in the council chamber of Duryodhana and asks Krishna that who is infuriated. I quote, "the lotus-eyed Lord." So, these were the literary devices which I used. Students, you might have come across some difficult words while reading the text. I've made a list of some words for you. I will tell you the meaning of these. Now, concentrate on your screen. The first word is parasol. The meaning of the word parasol is an ornate umbrella created with delicate fabrics such as lace, cotton, silk, linen, etc. The second word is mantle. It means a long garment worn as an overcoat. It is something similar to a gown. Next word is splendid. The meaning of the word splendid is magnificent. In Hindi, it is shandar. Next, preceptor. It means teacher or instructor. In Hindi, you can say guru. Acclaim. It means enthusiastic and public praise. Next word is anoint. A-N-O-I-N-T. It means ceremonially confer divine or legal office by smearing or rubbing with oil or water. In Hindi, you may call it a Raj Tilak or a Rajyabhishek. Next word is arsenal. A-R-S-E-N-A-L. It means a collection of weapons and military resources. Next, ordain. To make someone a priest or minister to confer something officially. Next is progeny. The meaning is children. हिंदी में जिसे हम बच्चे कहते हैं. Domain. Meaning is area someone rules or is in charge of. The next word is ambassador. Although I have explained to you this word in detail in the beginning of the video, but still I'll repeat. An accredited person who is sent as a representative of one country group to another. Next word, you are familiar with this because we have been using this word very often in my presentation. Envoy, E-N-V-O-Y, which is the title of the play also. Now, envoy is a messenger or representative, particularly on a diplomatic mission. Next word is herder, H-E-R-D-E-R, a person who grazes animals. हिंदी में जैसे हम कहते हैं ना चरवाहा. Next word is insolent. It means rudely and arrogantly disrespectful. Next word is humiliate. It means publicly shame. Publicly, when a person is insulted and he feels humiliated. Stupefied. Stupefied. Astonished and shocked. And the last word is quietening. The meaning is becoming quiet. So students, these were the difficult words. And now let's solve some of the textual short questions. Answer the following questions in 20 to 30 words each. Question number A. Who convenes the meeting of the prince? Duryodhana convenes or summons the meeting of the prince. Or Duryodhana was a Kaurav prince. There was a possibility of war between the Kauravas and the Pandavas, so he called the meeting of the prince. B question. Second question. What is the purpose of the meeting? Duryodhana called the meeting. He had a force of 11 armies. The purpose of the meeting was to decide who would be the commander of these armies. Question C. Where is the grandfather seated? The grandfather is seated at the lion throne. Question D. Who is the envoy and what is the purpose of his visit? Lord Krishna is the envoy. The purpose of his visit is to bring reconciliation between the Kauravas and the Pandavas. He wants to avoid the war between the brothers. Question E. How does Duryodhana plan to receive the envoy? Duryodhana is a wicked prince. He does not like Krishna. He plans to insult him. So he tells the other prince to remain seated when he comes. He makes it very loud and clear that if anyone goes against his warning, he will be fined with 12 gold coins. He decides that he will be seated and keep looking at the painting showing Draupadi being disrobed or insulted. Children, I would give you a suggestion. If you frame small sentences, chances of mistakes are less. And do learn, or I would rather say cram the spellings also. Now, question F. How does Duryodhana busy himself during the entrance of the envoy? When the envoy, I mean Lord Krishna, enters, Duryodhana keeps looking at a painting which depicts the insult of Draupadi. She is being dragged by her hair in the Kaurav court. Question G. Why are Duryodhana's warriors confused at the entrance of Krishna? Answer is, Duryodhana orders his warriors that They should not rise when Krishna enters, but they all greatly respect Krishna. Moreover, Duryodhan himself rises from his seat when Krishna enters. So this confuses the warriors when Krishna enters. Next is question H. What is Duryodhan's response to the Pandav's plea for the division of inheritance? Krishna has come with a peace proposal. He tells him that the Pandavas want their share of inheritance, but Duryodhan is a wicked man. He rejects his plea. I question, what do the Pandav brothers seek from the Kuru clan? Pandavas do not want to fight against their own brothers. They want that Duryodhan should divide the inheritance. In short, they want that their due share should be given to them. J question. Why does Duryodhan call Krishna a cowherd? उसको ग्वाला क्यों कहता है? Lord Krishna loved cows. He often took cows for grazing and spent his time with them. That is why Duryodhan calls him a cowherd. Moreover, he wants to insult Krishna. So, students, these were the short question answers. Now, I would like to give you an advice. Remember that a play is never meant to be read, but acted and performed. And each one of these plays, which are in your syllabus, has been acted out by the respective actors of their time and places. So, students, do not just imagine. Speak those lines out in front of the mirror. Pretend you are one of the actors in the play. I hope that many of you will choose to stage some of these plays which are prescribed in your text. If you do so, it will be so inspiring, motivating, and heartening for us. But even if you can't, I hope this book would have inspired your interest in the wild, wide, and wonderful world of plays in English. So, I am ending my lecture on this positive note. I hope you have understood the text well. Thanks for viewing the videos. Be safe and be positive. Thank you.